Okay, I'm super excited for what's next. Coming into the conference this year, I was looking at the roster as we were planning things out. And what I noticed was it was the same people as last year and the same people as the year before and the same people as the year before that. And I felt as though it was time for some new energy and some new blood. Now, I've had this wonderful opportunity that many have not, in that I've been able to teach classes and travel all over the world and become acquainted with practitioners everywhere. And so wanting to bring some new blood into the experience, I thought about who are the people that I respect most in how they manage their practice. The lady I'm about to introduce you to, Charlotte, if you've not had the experience and or the pleasure, is just lovely. She is positivity, she is joy incarnate. As a practitioner working in practice, her lead up to 2 days before she came here was 18 clients through her practice, just working with her over 2 days. This woman works morning till night, although she does set healthy boundaries and gives herself 4-day long weekends. Good job on that one, Charlotte. But I have never met anybody whom has better firsthand knowledge of especially the topic that she's going to speak on today, being bioterrain and digestion, than Charlotte. Because constitutionally, understanding Charlotte and knowing her for a long time, constitutionally, this is Charlotte's area of issue, as well as Charlotte's area of mastery when you see the vibrance and the glow that exists in her skin. Her knowledge base is profound. Her clinic is the real deal. And every time I talk to her, she's always learning something else. I think most recently it was bowel education, a bowel education course taught via the Netherlands. But I love the Dutch practitioners, all of you, because you're always studying. You're always learning as a part of the mandate to be able to practice in Holland. But it makes such exceptional practitioners and such an exceptional knowledge base if you're able to do those courses and then integrate it in tandem with your work. And I think that's something that Charlotte does really, really well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to a dear friend of mine and someone you're going to love too by the end of her lecture, Charlotte van Dommelen. Put your hands together, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. So my name is Charlotte, and I am 36 years old, and I'm an acupuncturist and a biofeedback therapist, and I have a practice in the Netherlands for 9 years now. My interest in the alternative medicine started when I had allergies and wanted to know the real cause of it. First, I became a color puncturist, which is really nice. It's a soft way of how you put colors on acupuncture points, and then you can heal yourself. And then I extended my knowledge because I wanted to know more about the color puncturist, because that's not enough to know. I want to know the background. And then I started with acupuncture, biofeedback, bioresonance, traditional Chinese food medicine, which is really interesting because you look at every person, what their energy is, and how you can help them really with how they are. So it's not a standard thing. And then I did bowel education and much more. And this year I did stool analysis, which is a very broad thing, but I'm not going to tell you about that today. So the beginning. So now I'm first going to talk to you about my health. I was born normally, like no C-section, but I didn't get the breastfeeding. So that's an important thing for your immune system to start with. At the age of 1.5, I got an unknown infection, and I was almost dead, and I got this really strong antibiotics. So I think that damaged my liver so much that is also the start of my allergies. And when I was 3.5 years old, I had severe fever, the Epstein-Barr virus, and when I was 5, I got eczema, food allergies, and at the age of 11, I got hay fever. The worst hay fever you can ever have, really. I don't want to do... yeah, it's now, me, my father, he is 67 years old, and I made this picture so you can see what my constitution is. I'm really a copy of my father. We were both born with a weak Vata constitution, and our weakest thing in the 5 elements from the traditional Chinese medicine is the metal element. So that is in the TCM, it's lungs, bowels, and skin. And he also has a lot of food allergies and also the worst hay fever. And what is nice to know is when I first measured him with my biofeedback system, I thought, this is not normal. I saw exactly the same thing as I have. So that was really crazy. And my grandfather, he died of colon cancer. So when I first did my C-scan, and I don't know if you all do the C-scans, the Dr. Hamer scan. Yes, it was the colon. And I thought, this isn't mine, because my grandfather died of colon cancer and my father has this constitution. So then I really decided not to be the victim of their genes. And I worked so hard on my health to disable their genes. And further, I want to tell you that nutrition plays a very important role during my treatments. So everybody in my practice gets, I discuss the food, and I'm not putting them on a diet. I just look at what do they like to eat and what will strengthen their constitution. So, that's what I learned in the TCM part when I did the Chinese food education. So, and I really believe that good food can be the medicine of your body. So that's where it all starts. So this is a topic I'm going to discuss with you today, is manage severe bowel dysfunction toxicity and supporting nutritional uptake. How are we going to do that? So I believe that you first have to prepare your nervous system, and then we're going to strengthen the digestive system, prepare all the channels of elimination, so make every organ really strong that it can release the toxins. Then the next step is to treat the severe pathogens in the bowels. And of course, it's very important to support the vitality of the body with the right nutrition and remedies. Now here you can see the parasympathetic and the sympathetic system, as you all know. But why is the parasympathetic system so important? Because stress activates the sympathetic nervous system, and when you have prolonged chronic stress and the absence of true relaxation, then your sympathetic state on can go on. And if you're on that level, then it's hard to get back to the parasympathetic system. And why the parasympathetic system? Because it brings more energy to the digestive system. And I believe that's step 1 in treating the digestion. So, are you ready to love your gut again? You are not what you eat, but what you digest. So you can eat really healthy, but if you cannot digest it, then you still have a problem. So, what is the importance of a good digestion? Optimizing digestion is really good for everything. It's not a disease treatment, but it's wellness enhancement and support. So it is the key for proper breakdown and assimilation of food, so that you can absorb all the minerals, all the vitamins and antioxidants to prevent oxidation and reduce inflammation, so your body will become a self-cleaning oven. And that's what we discussed the presentation earlier, where you can measure your antioxidants. So here you can see the digestive tract. And I'm going through the most important organs on that. So, because I think this is important, that you really have to support those organs first before you can go any further. Of course, you have to choose your food well. That's step one. But the next step is, if we look at the stomach is really the gatekeeper. So it kills all the harmful microorganisms and breaks down the proteins. But you have to have enough HCl. So if there's an underproduction of stomach acid, then you get disturbance in your digestive tract and also in your immune system, because you cannot kill all the pathogens in the first way. And a lot of people have low HCl. Further, if you have the most important infection that you can have in your stomach is the Helicobacter pylori, which can cause ulcers. But I also believe that you should not kill it off with an antibiotic, because you still need a little bit of it. So when you invert it with your biofeedback system, and in the system it's a number 3888, when you're treating it that way and inverting it, you're not killing it off everything. You're just treating it energetically. So you're always safe with doing that. Then the liver. The liver produces bile, and it also emulsifies fat and eliminates waste. So, and you can see all the other function of it. I'm not going to tell you everything that's on my slides, but you can read it all back again. But the liver is very important to detoxify your blood and clean your system. I believe that the liver has so much functions, it's too much for one organ. But anyway. Then the small intestine. The small intestine is very important, where is an important organ, because the food is digested and absorbed into the blood at that place. It has a really large lymphatic network, so your nutrients can be absorbed there. And you can see that the small intestine has three parts: the duodenum for breaking down the food, the jejunum that absorbs the majority of the nutrients is the second part of the small intestine, and the ileum is important for the absorption of vitamin B12. Then the colon stores waste and absorbs water and fat-soluble vitamins, and there's where the bowel flora also is. It's also in the small intestine, but a larger part in the large intestine, and the large intestine is the colon, the cecum, and the rectum all together. This is the Bristol stool chart, and it's not a nice thing to discuss with your clients, but you have to ask, how does your stool look? And everybody says, oh, it's fine, it's okay. But if you show them the Bristol stool chart, then you can say from what kind is yours. And when it's like type 3 or type 4, then it's normal, and otherwise it isn't. So they have to take action. Now, in the earlier days, they all knew it, that all disease begins in the gut. And I believe that too. So first, treat your gut. And I really like this picture, because these are the blue zones, the longevity hotspots in the world. So these are 5 spots in the world where people live a very clean, natural, healthy life. And every part of that world has their own quality of living a good life. As you can see here in California, in Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, and Japan. And yeah, that the percentage of cancer in those areas is below 20%. So what are your risk factors upon gut microbiome? So as I mentioned in my story, that if you were born with C-section, you don't get the microbiome from your mother in the beginning. So that's your first weakening part of your immune system. And if you were breastfeeding for less than a month, tonsils are out and things like that. They are all risk factors that can change your gut microbiome. Now, if you want to go any further, you can also do the stool analysis, and then you can test your microbiome. But you don't have to do that. You can also do the thing I will teach you now. But if you want to go a step further and you have really severe bowel things, then it's a really nice way to do. But it's a little expensive. So what is the difference nowadays? We've got air pollution, radiation, toxins, the wrong diet, too much sugar, trans fats, all the additives that are in our food, and especially the GMO food. It's really harmful for your gut. Too many antibiotics, medication, fillings, and also the poor methylation. And when you see that the severe diseases, they are climbing, like you see the Crohn's disease. So our microbiome has altered because of the dietary changes. The pesticides, the herbicides, which are really awful, they will change your gut bacteria, and also the antibiotics and medication. But antibiotics are life-saving. But if you have too many of them, then you can get the resistant superbug infection, and it's really hard to get healthy then. And what I thought was really interesting is when the children get antibiotics in the first 6 months of their birth, after their birth, their obesity can increase with 50%. So really take a look at that. And this is also very interesting because our microbiome has 100 trillion microorganisms, and it's 10 times the number of the cells in our body, and it has 150 times as many genes than we have. So they coexist with gut pathogens, so you also need them. And it regulates the immune system, regulates the endocrine system, and it helps your digestion. But most people think that the microbiome is only in our gut. That is where the majority is, but it's a living system in every cell of our body. So not only in our gut, it's in our mouth and everywhere. Now, why is the microbiome so important? Because it produces vitamins and anti-tumor and anti-inflammatory compounds, and that our genome cannot produce. So you really need them. These are the functions of the microbiome. It's for food digestion. Without it, you get malabsorption. Protection against pathogens, provides essential nutrients, trains your immune system, and if you have a disturbance in the flora, then it is linked to disease. Now, what are the 5 steps to get a healthy gut? First of all, you have to remove the dysbiotic bad bacteria and pathogens. And I think it's wise also to, for an amount of time, not to take any gluten or an inflammatory disease. It is not that everybody has a gluten intolerance, but it's really hard for your bowels because it will change. You can get leaky gut from it. Then repair the intestinal lining. You can do it with supplements like L-glutamine, but I love the bone broth. I make it myself, and it's so easy. It is really easy. And you can put it in the freezer and get it out and just make it yourself. So, sorry? Bone broth is just a soup. So you can do it with chicken or with other bones. Yes. Yes, that's that. Yeah, and if you do like 11 hours, then you get a really strong bone broth. And I do like, I put a lot of stuff, and it's like really full that I have to pull it beneath, and then you have a really nice bone broth. And then you can retest your gut. You can retest it with the system, but you can also do the stool analysis that I just mentioned. What are the 5 core species? So there are 5 core species in your bowel, and here you can see, and as all of you know, the Lactobacillus acidophilus, it crops the growth of Candida. It controls cholesterol, manufactures lactose and vitamin K, and it combats small intestinal pathogenic organisms. And I also mentioned at the end which things you can eat to stimulate those core species. So here you see the other 3. And the probiotics increase the absorption of minerals, minimize and eliminate lactose intolerance, so it really helps with that also, and it helps your digestion and proteins, manufacture short-chain fatty acids, and manufacture these vitamins. These are 2 other species, and the last one is very important for when you have Crohn's disease, colitis, and EBS, which I'm talking to you later about. And here you can see which things you can eat as a probiotic and what's as a prebiotic. And you really need the prebiotics so that the probiotics can stay in your gut. Because if you don't have the soil and don't have the food for the pathogens, they will not survive. So the probiotics are the living microorganisms, and the prebiotics are the non-living, and those are the food for your probiotics. I think you all know about glyphosate, how harmful it is. It is a very strong, broad-spectrum systemic herbicide, and they use it in the US more than they do here in my country, in the Netherlands. But it changes the composition of the gut bacteria, and it's also that it's a little damages the liver so much that it cannot do his detoxification phase 1 and 2. It's also depletes your vitamins, a lot of your vitamins, and what is really important is that it impairs the neurotransmitter production and can cause cancer. So, and here you can see the link between our brain and our gut, and this is very important, and they are still doing research every year to know more about it, because they still don't know everything about it. Your microbiome has an influence on your production of your neurotransmitters, so for your stress, for your mood, for your behavior. But the other way around, your brain influences your weight, your bowel movements, and your nutrition. So the gut is our second brain. Because many of our brain neurotransmitters are produced in our gut, like 90% of the serotonin and 50% of the dopamine are produced in our gut by those bacteria. So when you have a depressed person in your practice, you really have to work on their gut because of the 90% of the serotonin. That's really. And I also believe if you have happy people in your practice, then they can be more happy if you treat their gut. So the gut controls your behavior when you have constipation, fatigue. You also have depression and things like that. And if you watch this YouTube movie, then it will be explained even further, but it's too long to do that now. So you can do that at home. These are all the neurotransmitters. And there you can read what those neurotransmitters do with your body. And here I mentioned which bacteria produce which neurotransmitter. So for example, the Lactobacillus and the Bifidobacteria species produce GABA. So you need the diversity of this bacteria, but not only from the probiotics and prebiotics, but it's also very important to eat right food and reduce your stress level so these neurotransmitters can flourish through your body. Then here you can see the glyphosate again, as I mentioned before, and it's really important to mention this because all amino acid natural pathways are destroyed by glyphosate. So the tyrosine makes dopamine and it cannot do it anymore if you have glyphosate in your body. So we need to buy organic food because glyphosate does not only destroy your microbiome but also affects your brain because therefore it cannot produce the neurotransmitters anymore. And this is also a nice experience with lean germ-free mice. They received a transplant of gut microbiotica from the conventional fat mice, and they gain weight. So without taking any more food, without eating other food, they just gain weight. So it influences your weight, and it also influences your hormone production. So these mice gain weight within a couple of days. And they are also doing more research on that. So which bacteria that you need to lose weight. And this is also nice to mention because the most important factor of the cognitive disorder, like dementia in older age, is the difference in our microbiome. So it's not only the heavy metals, but if you change your microbiome, you can have less cognitive disorder. Now I'm going to talk about the subject we are going to talk about today. Do we have any clients that have a chronic gut health problem or received a diagnosis like leaky gut, celiac disease, EBS, colitis, SIBO, Crohn's disease, and Candida? Are there a lot of you who are working already with... Oh, you have celiac. Okay, and did you treat yourself already? Okay. Now, constipation, there are a lot of people that are constipated, and it's an inflammation in the small intestinal tract and colon, which weakens the peristaltic action. But the cause of the constipation is in the first place pathogens. So it can be an Epstein-Barr virus, can be the E. coli, shingle virus, streptococcus. But the most important part that I've seen in my practice is that all of those people, really all of those people, have a toxic, stagnant, or sluggish fatty liver. So the liver is, again, very important with the bowels. So the liver plays a central role in the gut health issues. It absorbs the medication, and later on, much later on, the resistance in your intestinal tract can cause inflammation, because that's later. So first, the absorption of the medication is done in the liver, and if you don't have a clean liver, then the residue will get in your bowels. And it also stores the heavy metals and all the other toxins and the pesticides, herbicides. When your liver becomes sluggish due to all those toxins and heavy metals and pathogens, it cannot produce the bile, and that's needed to break down the fats, and they will slowly going rancid. And the rancid part will feed the pathogens again. So you have this cycle that's going on and going on. Now, celiac disease, I believe it's not an autoimmune disease. The gluten is a trigger for the celiac disease because gluten is a favorite food for the bacteria Streptococcus. So when gluten is consumed, the Streptococcus is strengthened and the lining of the colon is further inflamed. So really take a look at the Streptococcus bacteria in your measurements. Fats and proteins break down. The essential function of the bile from the liver and the HCl from the stomach is when the fats and the proteins start to rot in intestinal tract and colon, they are feeding off the pathogens, which I've just mentioned. And if you eat too much fat and too much protein, it goes rancid, and the HCl is very important for the breakdown of the proteins. And maybe you don't know it, but there are 7 different types of acids that is HCl is made of. So when you buy a pill like for HCl, then you only get 1 part of it. So you're missing 6 parts of it. But I'm going to tell you later how you can get it really easy with your food. What is leaky gut syndrome? I think you all know that the tight junctions of the intestines become looser, and then the large molecules can pass through the gut lumen, and then you can get immune reactions from those foods. Here you can see a picture of leaky gut. These are the tight junctions. And here you can see that they are broken down, so every part of the food can go into the bloodstream, and then you will get the immune reaction. This is what I believe that leaky gut syndrome is really is. A true cause of this is, first of all, the colonoscopy. So when they do that, you get a perforation in the lining of the intestinal tract of the colon, and it can really inflame. So that's one of it. And when you have diverticulosis, deep pockets in the colon through the E. coli or Streptococcus can also cause this. And here you can see that the leaky gut affects the whole body. So it's not only the bowels. It has influence on your joints, on the sinuses, the brain, as I just mentioned. The skin can really inflame, and you can be really exhausted because of the adrenals. And this is one of the most important parts of my presentation, and I will read it because the leaky gut syndrome, so the fatigue and things like that, is actually ammonia permeability. So when someone is diagnosed with leaky gut syndrome, it is usually due to the liver weakening and becoming sluggish. The bile and blend of HCl requires to break down fat and protein, are not strong enough to do their job. When the proteins reach your lower intestine, they won't be broken down enough for yourself to assess their nutrients. And instead of the food will just lie there and rot, feeding pathogens that are sitting in the colon and intestinal tract. This gut rot creates ammonia gas and can result in some symptoms of bloating, digestive discomfort, chronic dehydration, or oftentimes no symptoms at all. So that's really dangerous, because some people say, I have no symptoms with my bowels, but there are. It is there. And that's just a start. This ammonia gas has a ghost-like ability to go straight to your bones, skins, and out of you. What I've just described is not actually leaky gut syndrome. If you have truly had leaky gut, then you would be in the hospital with a high fever. So, however, ammonia permeability is much more common. Now I'm going to talk about Candida. A lot of people complain that, oh, I have Candida and the worst yeast infection ever. But Candida is not the problem. It's an indication of one. So you have to look at the things that the causes underneath it. Because we need Candida. We need Candida because it protects us by consuming debris from poor quality of food and toxins. And it allows absorption of nutrients into our bloodstream. Now, the true cause is, again, an overburdened liver. So don't kill the Candida, but kill the bacteria that causes it. And also the heavy metals can be the cause of it. And it's also co-occurs with Lyme disease, shingle virus, Epstein-Barr virus, and other things. So you really have to know that it is a warning sign and not go straight after the Candida. Because if you take rid of the primary issue, then it will naturally return to normal. And you see it a lot when women go to the doctor and they have vaginal yeast infection, then often it's a streptococcus underneath. So treat that one and the Candida will go away. SIBO is the next trend in the bowel dysfunction, and it switched from Candida to SIBO. So, and it's not an overgrowth of antibiotic-resistant strep in the gut. I believe that a true cause of SIBO, and can be something more, but this is a true cause, is a proliferation of bacteria in the gut stemming from Streptococcus. So again, the streptococcus. Colitis is also not an autoimmune disease. The true cause of colitis is often the shingle virus. So it will rupture the blood vessels and they will bleed, and then you get the inflammation that's caused by the pathogen sitting in the lining. So it's really important, if you have that you don't feed off those pathogens again with the gluten, the egg, the dairy, the soy, the corn, canola oil, because they will go rancid again and then you'll get inflamed. But another important part is what you see here, is that all those pathogens also produce neurotoxins. And the neurotoxins are very harmful for your body and for your liver, so you get an overburdened liver again. Now, Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease, I also believe that it's not an autoimmune disease, but just as with colitis, not every case of Crohn's disease is going to be the same. So it can be viral, Epstein-Barr virus, it can be bacterial, Streptococcus, it can also be viral and bacterial, it can be both. And the toxic heavy metals, like especially mercury, is very important with Crohn's disease. But every case is different. So all the things I mentioned, you have to look at the person itself. It can also be parasites in your system. So EBS, if they don't know it, they call it EBS. That's so easy. Every bowel disease that they don't know, they call it EBS. But the true cause is the waste products from pathogens, Streptococcus, E. coli. They are rotting, and you have a low bile production, low HCl, and then you get ammonia gas, as I just mentioned before. So your colon gets inflamed, and then you eat all those rancid foods, so it will feed your pathogens again, and the EBS will get worse. So now this is a summary I made, so that you can easily look at the gut problem and the pathogens linked to that gut problem. And that's easy for the protocol I'm going to tell you later about. We come back on this, so I just slip it. Do I have to wait? Yeah? You all got it? So how to heal from colitis, Crohn's disease, and EBS? First of all, lower your fat intake. You have to not do it for your whole life, just for this part when you want to heal the persons. So lower your fat intake, get rid of the gluten, the eggs, the dairy, the pork, the soy, the corn, canola, should be avoided. And this is the magical juice that I really love. It's a celery juice, and it's from Medical Medium. He's the writer of that book, and he is telling that the celery juice, when you take it on an empty stomach, then you will build up and strengthen the liver, because your bile reserves get up and your HCl gets up, and then you can kill off the pathogens, and that's the first cause of the disease. Further, the cluster salts in the celery juice help you to remove the toxins from your body. So how easy is that? So the celery juice is a miracle juice, improves all kinds of chronic health issues. So not only the gut problems, but all kinds of chronic health issues. And I'm using it now for myself, like I think like almost a year, and I'm really noticing the difference. So I don't do it every day. I do it 3 days a week. First of all, I start with every day, but that's my body doesn't want it every day. So I do it 3 times a week, and you have to drink it solo. So don't mix it with anything else. Just drink it solo. It will strengthen your digestion of food that you eat for the rest of the day. So if you start with the celery juice and you drink it, then your digestion will be stronger the rest of the day because of the bile and the HCl. No, before. First thing in the morning. Yes, but if you cannot do it because of the work, you have to do that, and it's not easy for you in the morning, then you can also take it after you have worked. So when you come back from your work, and you just wait, then when you at home at 5 o'clock, then you stop eating at 3 o'clock, and you take the celery juice, and then you wait half an hour, and then you do your dinner. That's also good. No. It's best to drink it right away, but you can keep it in the fridge, but it's not that strong anymore. So you can do it, but it's stronger to do it fresh, yes? And I also like to buy it organically, because that's, yeah. Yes? Oh, the whole part. Yes, everything. Yeah, no, everything. Yes, if you use the leaves, then it will be a little bit stronger, like stronger taste. Not everybody likes that, but just the stem. Yeah, you use the stems. You do the whole part. Yeah, the root. You cut it off like just this thick. 1 centimeter, cut it off, and everything you juice. You can, and I will mention it 1 second. So it also strengthens your nervous system and removes toxins and poisons. And here I mentioned how you make it. So it's just easy to do. You can do it on 2 ways. You can use your slow juicer if you have one. And if you don't have a slow juicer, you can just put it in a blender, like a longer time that's really liquid. And then you can rinse it with a cloth. And then you have your your juice. It's not the same as eating celery. So you really have to get the juice. And if you're really a diehard, you do half a liter or something like that. Yeah. These are other things you can eat to heal from colitis, Crohn's disease, and EBS. Eat bananas, papayas, aloe water, and you can read it all by yourself. But another thing I want to say is that if you don't like the celery juice, or that you have people like or are allergic to celery, you also have those people, then you can make a cucumber juice, which also helps all the things I've just mentioned. It's not as strong as a celery juice, but it's also a good alternative. Yeah? So eat more fruit and exercise. Rebounding is really nice for your lymphatic system. Now I'm going to talk about the pathogens and how you can get rid of the pathogens, the most severe pathogens that I've just mentioned. The Epstein-Barr virus, I really believe that a lot of people, like 90% of the people, have some sort of Epstein-Barr virus. And it's overlooked. It's underlooked, so people don't look at it. But there are 4 stages of it. So when you don't have the acute symptoms, it can be the chronic symptoms. Because it's first, it goes in your liver, spleen, your thyroid, and then in your nervous system. So that's the pathway of the Epstein-Barr virus. Now, you can eat the blueberries, the celery, sprouts, asparagus, spinach, things like that. And I also mentioned what it does in relation with the Epstein-Barr virus. So and my favorite part of it is the ginger, because it's really saved my life. Because I had a cold constitution. My constitution is a cold constitution, and the ginger is really a warming thing for your digestive tract, and it heals your liver. I call it my liquid gold. No, only the root, the real ginger. Yeah, the spicy ginger. And you can also juice it and add it with some fruits that you like. So it's when you do the papaya or something really sweet, and you put a little bit of ginger in it, it's really a spicy thing. Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. I love it. These are the other things. It's just easy. Just rotate all the things that I've just mentioned and eat at least 3 of these foods per day and rotating it. Then after a year, you have less symptoms of the Epstein-Barr virus. You can also do it a little bit stronger and use those supplements if you want to work really hard on it. But there are also all the things that you can look into your system and look if they have a depletion of it that your client have. These are the foods to avoid Streptococcus virus. Eggs and dairy products, they really feed viruses. So all the dairy products feed the virus. So if you have a flu, also everybody gets a flu during the winter once a year or something like that, then you can, during that time, you can avoid to eat eggs and dairy products. Corn, wheat, and things like that. And these are the healing foods to heal the Streptococcus. Streptococcus bacteria is a co-infection of the Epstein-Barr virus. So you have to treat both. Streptococcus bacteria is a co-infection of the Epstein-Barr virus. So you have to treat both, yes. Yeah, brothers, sisters, anyway. Here you can see how to heal from the shingle virus. And as you can see, I love the simplicity. I don't put too many people on all the supplements. I really discuss their food. Because if they are going to eat this and like it, then they will continue doing it. Yeah. Now, here I've mentioned how you can detoxify the toxic heavy metals. Everybody has toxic heavy metals. Some of them have severe heavy metals and other people have it less. But these are 5 healing foods that you can make a smoothie of it. So you can really work on your heavy metals. So the spirulina, barley grass juice extract powder, and I also mentioned what it does to your body. What is important, if you don't want to make the whole thing, you can also do the spirulina together with a wild blueberry. I like the wild blueberry powder, the organic one, because the spirulina takes away the heavy metals, and the wild blueberries will fill up the gaps as an antioxidant. So that's really powerful. And here you can see how you make a nice heavy metal detox smoothie. So bananas. Do you know that bananas really are one of the most important food to eat for when you have Crohn's disease? Because it takes away the inflammation of the bowels. 2 cups of wild blueberries, cilantro, orange juice. And this one really tastes nice. So because it's combined with fruit, it tastes good. And people will do it. So don't be afraid of food, because food have all the minerals and vitamins. It's a natural thing. This is how you can boost your gut microbiome. Just do the simple diet. And this is also very easy. The elevated biotics are the microorganisms that sit on top of organic produce. So that's what we all ate when we in the earlier days, just pick an apple from a tree that doesn't have any glyphosate on it, and that are the really microbiomes, organisms, that have the strong immune system in itself because they have been in the wind, in the rain, and things like that. So that's a natural way. So if you have an own garden, you can do that, but a lot of people don't have it, but only if you do it twice a year. That it's the same as when you get a virus, it multiplies also. So it stays there. But what is easy that you can advise your clients is just to eat the sprouts, like the alfalfa and all the broccoli sprouts and things like that. They can just buy it in a supermarket. And because I love the TCM, in this part of the year, it is the metal element, and that's the lungs, large intestine, and the skin. So if you clean up the digestive system in this part of the year, that will be much stronger than you do it in the summer. Yeah, so that's so work on it right away. Now we're going to do the practical part. We're going to, how are we going to treat the severe bowel dysfunction toxicity with the Quest 9? I made 10 sessions. First of all, I want to mention that you don't have to do this 10 sessions. It is just like, this is a way you can do it, but it's not a protocol. So pick the things you like and make your own thing for your client, yeah? But this is just an example how you can do it. First of all, I want to mention that during the classes of Adam, he did a startup. Who of you went to Adam's startup? Yeah, you? I know. Nobody knows the startup of Adam's protocol? Okay, that's nice. Then it's new for you. So I adjusted his startup to the digestive startup, and the other things I made myself. Because I'm using that one. I really like that one. I used to do all the channels of eliminations. That's my thing that I always do with my clients, but you will see it later. So I'll go to you step by step, and I circled it so it's really easy to follow. Load current patient. Click on the risk from the list. I choose immune system, digestive, liver, lymphatic, kidney, inflammation, oxidation, bacteria, virus, toxicity. And then you click on close. And then you open up your body viewer, but you do not open it, just activate it. Do the same with iridology, do not open. Do the same with disease dictionary, do not open. Or you can choose just the two, the body view or the iridology. Then we go to organ generator. And this is the affirmation that I like. My body's natural detoxifying mechanisms are functioning perfectly. My digestive system works perfect and my intestines are healthy. I let go of all undigested anger and emotion. I allow love to heal my body and restore perfect health. Because every disease has an emotional part. And the anger goes into your colon, and that's also the Hamer scan, which I will talk to you about later. So then you activate it, you choose universal or some other things you want to work on, interactive, and I set it on 10. Activate organ generator, close, close again, and then you close this part. And then I would like to go to nutrition and homeopathic feedback. Calculate this strike this key first. Basic homeopathy from test scan. Possible concerns. 3 top items, close. And then you can go to this Keto Nutrition Enzyme Hormone Stabilize program. And this is a really strong program. I choose this one, but you can also do the degeneration or the inflammation through other programs. I don't know if you know that one, the EFA one, but I like this one because then your body will be loaded with all the enzymes, all the minerals, and all the hormones to stabilize them, and that's a good start, a good beginning. So you click on Start, and then you open up your C-scan. Yes? Click on a result cancer scan, but it's not a cancer scan. So the Hamer scans are not the cancer scans. They treat conflicts. So the underlying conflict of a disease, and I think that the C-scans are the most powerful is the most powerful way to treat the emotions behind a severe dysfunction of the digestive system. So then you click on Add Additional Piggyback Therapies, and you click on Focus on Item Loaded. Load, close, and then I set the timer on 20 minutes, and then you minimize the screen. Then you can see on the bottom of the page, you can go there back and you can open another C-scan. I will go back once again. So what I would like you to do is first pick the C-scan that the client wants. So that's the most accurate conflict they have. Because you never know what conflict they have. Besides the digestive problems they have. And then I made a summary of how I would do the 10 sessions. So the first 5 sessions, I will do like this is the same as the other 5 sessions. And the most important one, I think, is the colon cancer. And you can see that I took all of them together, the small intestine, the stomach, the liver, and this is another part of the stomach. And so you can see that I have mentioned all the important parts I've said before during my first part of my presentation. So how do you come on this screen? You open up another C-scan, and then you go to the inner blastodermic layer, because it's in the endoderm layer, all those diseases. And I will show you which numbers that are those C-scans. So number 20 is a small intestine, 22 the colon, which is most important, as I mentioned. And what is also, you have to look at what is the conflict underneath that they have. You can see it here. The stomach, duodenum, liver, small intestine, the upper part of the small intestine, the appendix, and so on. So that's all numbers. So now you have 3 C-scans. The first one of what the person has, and 2 of the other ones. And you can switch. Then you end this program, and we go to the electrophysiological frequency, because, as I mentioned in the beginning, that the parasympathetic nervous system is very important, and is step 1 for a good digestion. So you go to autonomic nervous system and put those you treat it until it's rectified. First vagus nerve, that's what I do. Then sympathetic, as I mentioned here, and then the parasympathetic. Yes? And you wait until the rectification is 100%. So I find that a lot of times when I do the vagus nerve, I will have to do it like 3 times. And the vagus nerve is a part of the parasympathetic. So then when you do it at the end, the parasympathetic, it will go immediately to 100%. Yes? And then another way how you can do the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also a really nice way, is go to the time therapies. Click on time therapies. Enable time therapies. And then you do the parasympathetic stimulus. What is nice about this way is when you do it once, then you can see the rectification here. And if it's not rectified, after 3 times, you know that there's a real problem there. And don't do it more than 3 times. Stop when you have done it 3 times. That's enough, because otherwise it's too much. And when you now in this screen, you can. It's a nice way to also do the auto digestive system. So you click on metabolic error. The metabolic error is very important with digestive system, and set the timer on 5 minutes, and then treat digestive system. What it does, it takes the most important digestive items from the mainstream of that person from that day. So it's really specific. In between, you can switch on to the disease dictionary, the iridology, and the body viewer. So these are all the diseases that you can select in the disease dictionary. And then you click on this therapy, OK, reveal text, quick calibrate patient's reactivity. And then I switch on to the body viewer, because you have to wait after you click that one. In the body viewer, you can load individual movie program, digestive system, and you can also select other things. The one I really like is not to forget that the sacred geometry, number 1, is a really nice one to clean your aura. It's really, it's my favorite. Then you go back to the disease dictionary, quick test patient bioresonance. Go back to the body view, because you have to wait again. Therapist plus unconscious choices. And there are 3 ways to activate the body viewer. This is very important. Complete spinal therapy is one of them, or chakra problems, or scan acupartitional system. And then you see this red thing here, extra piggyback active. If it doesn't show up, your body viewer is not active. So look at that. Then we go back to disease dictionary. You choose auto treat. And then I go to iridology. These are my favorite ones that I activate. So you just go to those tabs here, and you activate the piggyback. I always do the brain. I do the digestive system. And here I add in the piggybacks. And I always do 2 piggybacks. I do the piggyback from the quantum clarity report, so from Adam, the quantum clarity piggyback. And I made my own really nice digestive piggyback, which you can see here. And I want to explain this one. This is the one that I use all the time during digestive problems. The first one are all the minerals. This is a very strong one. This is a probiotic. This also is a probiotic. This is a Nelson fatty acid remedy, which is really a strong one, because we need the essential fatty acids. This is the anti-cancer formula. This is the HCl and the pepsin for your stomach, the bile for your liver, the small intestine meridian, large intestine meridian, the small and large intestine, all the amino acids. I really love the liquid trophics. I don't know if you know them, but they're really strong, the liquid trophics. The Hemo A liquid trophic, it's also for cancer, but for your immune system. The hepatoliquid trophics for your liver. The propepsia liquid trophic is for your digestive system. The seroto liquid trophic is for your serotonin and your dopamine. And it's because it's not only serotonin, but also dopamine. It also has dopamine in it. And then you have the anti-scar remedy. The anti-scar remedy heals your scars in your gut. So it's also a very strong one. Then I added invert ulcers, invert inflammation, invert degeneration, oxygen, which is is needed, invert mood disorder, and the most important emotional part, I let go of all my undigested anger and stress. Because all of those people have problem with digesting some emotions. So then I choose the endocrine system, the lymphatic system. Here I choose the bowels. Then I put the first part of the session on this part, and the second part I put it on the head. Then I like to choose a resistance to change, because everybody has resistance to change, really everybody. That can make it more easier to treat those people. Then I like to select the serotonin, and here I like to select the hypothalamus immune system because it regulates a lot of things. So all your backup programs are now ready, and then I choose universal biofeedback therapy, and choose the one that your client selects. So here you can see scalar therapy and NLP, so you can do that, and then close. And this is a summary from the beginning of my presentation of all the numbers of diseases I've mentioned and all the numbers of the pathogens. And the pathogens that you can see here are also very important with those diseases. So you also have to look at those, because the Helicobacter, the Salmonella is a really nasty one, the Campylobacter and the Pyogenium food poisoning. But when you choose to zap the food poisoning, it can cause a Herxheimer reaction. So be careful with that one. Do not do it in the beginning. So these are the numbers, and then you can look them up. So you can do an individual reaction key on it, or the number, or type it in. So these are all the things I've just mentioned in that other thing, all the diseases. And when you do an individual reaction key on it, you have to click on interrupt result, and you can see the links with that disease. Constipation, Candida, and then when you have done the diseases, then you can go to the pathogens like the EBV, the Epstein-Barr virus, or take the number from the other part of the presentation screen, and you also do all the individual reaction key on those items. And you can see if the resonance and the coherence is above 85, and then you know that they rectified with that they resonate with those pathogens or with that disease. And you made a note of them. Every thing you selected, you checked, you notice them on your handout. So you can see it again, all the numbers. So what you now can do, because you now know which gut health problem is reactive and which pathogens cause this, then you can make a more customized piggyback. So you can take this piggyback, as I just mentioned, and add with every kind of disease a customized piggyback together with it. So, for example, with colitis, you can do invert colitis. This is another colitis that is in the main screen, and you can invert the shingle virus, and then you can add the Nelson viral remedy and the Narayani colon remedy, because they are very strong, as we discussed earlier this morning. Then we go to the short star codes, because we're going to strengthen the channels of elimination. And this is the most important part of preparation before you can get rid of the toxins. Because if your liver is not strong enough, it cannot get rid of it. The energy is too low. So in short star codes, shortcut for Rx, then you can add the digestive piggyback, the long one, from our Word document. I should not, in the first sessions, I should not do the customized piggyback, because they are too strong. So first, do the first sessions, do only the piggyback for digestion long and not with the customized. So you do that later. When you think, oh, your client can handle it, then you do the customized. Load, close. And I think it's important that you do it in this sequence, the organs, because that's more powerful than just select one you like as is mentioned in this program. So I first do, you can also add some other piggybacks here, like degeneration and inflammation. Those tools are also very nice. First, do the lymph. So you click, what is important to know, that you click on some part of the white background and you wait, you click it just as much until the repaired rectify is 10% higher than all of those. And if you do that, then you do it the right way. So you repeat it until you have 10% higher here than there. Then you do the lungs, the stomach, the kidneys, the large intestine, small intestine, liver, go to MISC, do the skin, then do more anatomy, choose the brain, go back and do the endocrine system. And then you're done. This is the end of session 1. So after session 1, you know which pathogens there are and which diseases there are reactive in this client. This session, it's 1.5 hours nearby. Yes, because you have to search all those things, so you cannot manage it in 1 hour. Yes, that's. But the first session is you have to do like 1.5 hours, and otherwise you split up. You can also do that. So don't do the preparation and just first look at which pathogens there are. But you can activate the background programs and do not the other parts if you only have 1 hour, and just so the background programs already clean up your system. So they have their first strengthening of their organs, and then you can look all the pathogens and the disease up, so you know what to do in session 2. Now we go to session 2. Session 2 is, I call it the digestive startup. So the digestive startup is just what I did in session 1, without the searching of the pathogens and the diseases. So that are those steps.
Well, if you do today the session 1, when you ask to come for the session 2?
Oh, I do 10 sessions every week, 1 session. That's what I always do. So, and if people don't have the money, they can do it once in every 2 weeks. Yes, but I think it's important that you have to speed it up, because they don't fall down and they really get a beneficial thing. Or if they cannot pay it, they can also pay it later, so that I can still do the 10 sessions. Yes, yes. I think it's more powerful. Then we go. In session 2, I want to clean up the blood. So you go to dark field analysis, superconscious scan of blood, general rectification, and then you go to blood treatments and you select all of those things, and here it is, and then you set the timer on 20 minutes, start and close, and this takes longer than 20 minutes, so notice that. Yeah, it takes really longer, but now you have no more sticky blood, so that is really important. And you already prepared the organs in the beginning with the digestive startup, so they will not get a Herxheimer reaction. End of session 2. Session.
Do you work with any accessories? The organ camera or something?
No, but I do other things. I have an Interix device, and the Interix device is actually a pain device, but I also treat acupuncture points with it, and it's really powerful and very strong. So I do like 3 points, and I treat the neck for the autonomic nervous system, and I have a Kundalini generator which are 60 crystals, like 1.5 meter and 1.5 meter, which is in my room. So that's my amplifier, and I also work with a Bicom. I do with the Bicom just easy. I do only the elements, so the metal element or the earth element or the element that's in the season, and I also do that together with during the session. So that's what, and I do acupuncture. So that's a lot in one treatment, enough for the people. And during the treatment, I will discuss their food. So that's my multitasking thing. Session 3. Session 3 is first digestive startup, and then it's the same as session 2. So it's a blood cleansing session. Session 3. End of session 3. Session 4. Session 4 is first the digestive startup, and it's the same. It's just like doing the blood cleansing 2 times. It's more powerful than do it just 1 time. And if you do it after each other, then it's more beneficial, I believe. End of session 4. Session 5. Session 5 is first the digestive startup. And then I will show you my summary again, as we discussed earlier, because we're going to use this one. Now you have to choose all the pathogens that you find in session 1. And we're going to search for that again. So, for example, the EBV, search tray above. And then you find it here. Make sure it's highlighted. And then you select the autofocus app 3 minutes. And this button will change into 3 minutes, as you can see. And then you zap it for 3 minutes. After you have zapped it for 3 minutes, it's very important to look at this rectification. It has to say excellent here. If it doesn't say excellent, it's not done yet. So it's really short, and then you're ready earlier. Then you can do it like here, in the magenta whole tray, and look at which SAR codes are reacting on the Epstein-Barr virus. And you double-click the yellow lines. So you repeat these steps, step 85 until 91, for all the health problems that you have found and all the pathogens that caused it. So here you can see a summary again. And then you just only click once to support the drainage, all the short SAR codes. And then session 5 is done. Session 6, you do the digestive startup again. This is the same as session 5. I want to repeat it, because then it works stronger. And session 6, session 7, digestive startup. And then I like this program very much, because it's a very strong program. You go to Superconscious Reduction Panel, and you type in the Crohn's disease, or another disease that you have found, and you see what the unconscious thing is behind this disease. Then you treat all, and then you can go into deep homotoxicology. So now, first we did an easy one, and now we're going to deep into that's related to this disease. So click this button to find the tissue connection disease to the homotoxicology screen. Then info click first. And this is what Debbie mentioned yesterday, is what you can see here. If you're right or left spinning, so this person is right spinning, so if that's going on, then you have to do the scalar therapy. That's important to do. So if you already know this, then you can do the scalar first, because you cannot go back now. Or you can do it after it. That's also not a problem. Scalar, yes. Yes, from the universal therapies, that one. And I always run it together with the color therapy because it can go together. And then you have to look at the positive and negative magnetics. And this person has a very good negative magnetics. It's very high. It's like more than doubled. So this is really good. Then you know that the detox will go well. And if you don't see this, it's the opposite, then you can do the all enzymes in the nutrition panel. But you already did that in the beginning, in the startup. When you do the EAF program, you already gave all the enzymes. So you will be safe. And then I choose the alimentary tract, which is the bowels. And I like to type in the disease here also. So you type in Crohn's disease, continue test nosode, and then you know what is really linked to this disease. 3 top 5 items. And then you can select all the things that are high. Just click it once. But if you don't have enough time, you can also choose this line because it has a lot in one line. So you will be very fast. Then click close. Stimulate detox. Okay, close. And repeat this step if it's not rectified above 85%. So then you have to repeat this until you have a higher percentage. But if it's already rectified, as you see here, then you can choose the other one, allopathic drug detox, and do the same thing. Okay, close. And when this is 100%, then you choose this one. Will really strengthen your detox further and will go really deep, deep, deep. Start detox pulse. And you end until the rectification is 100%. I found it very beneficial. Oh, sorry.
Do you find alarms very often?
Sorry?
Do you find you get alarms? It seems like a lot of treatment.
Oh, it's too much.
Well, do you find alarms very often?
Oh, alarms. No. I don't get a lot of alarms because I did a preparation very good. And that's the key to it. So if you do the channels of elimination, all the organs at first, then you don't alarm a lot. And if you do alarm, I always tell my clients that they first have to drink a lot of water before they come to my session. And also do it after a session and take a Epsom salt food bath after it. So that will really help. And if you have the time, you can run it a little longer, which is very powerful, like for 10 minutes or something like that. Then close and support the drainage again just by clicking once all the organs. End of session 7. Then session 8 is the same as session 2. So I would like to do the blood cleansing again. So this is a blood cleansing treatment after the heavy detox that you did. End of session 8. Session 9. Session 9 is the same as session 5. And that is a session where you are searching the pathogens and treat them. That's session 5. End of session 9. Session 10. Session 10, you repeat the digestive startup. And then this is also one of my favorites. And it's stimulate, reaction, duplicate, remedy. I believe that this is the strongest program in the biofeedback device. And you can type in the white tray, invert, for example, when you have Crohn's disease, the number. I find it very beneficial to do the number and also the name of the disease. So not only the number, it's like a double thing to do, yes. And keep 2 spaces in between and do invert undigestive anger, because that's linked with Crohn's disease. Undigested anger and stress, invert Epstein-Barr virus, invert Streptococcus, invert heavy metal detox, and then you click on start correction. And you repeat this until the correction is 85% or more. Then it's very nice to do an auto zap, like fill in the holes with something good. So you can use the bowel flora balance, and when it's running the bowel flora balance, look at which color each part is that you're zapping, so you can get really information from that also. And this is what I like also, because you want to end up the session with a feel-good therapy for all the people, so that they feel really happy when they leave your place. Yes, and that's also why I put in the piggyback the serotonin leukotropic. This is serotonin, yes, but in the serotonin leukotropic, the 941, it's serotonin and dopamine. Yes, and that's what in the piggyback. So you can use it always as a piggyback, so it's running in all the systems that you're set up. End of session 10, but I have to go back because there are some other things that you can choose. You can. What also is very beneficial is to zap degenerative tissue, because these are severe bowel problems. Zap inflammation. It's underneath here. Or what is it? Yeah, something like that. And this is also a nice one, the enzyme intolerance. So people can get a better digestive system if you use that one. And another one is what you can only do later, what I mentioned before, is auto-zap the pyrogenium food poisoning. I think you should always look at pyrogenium food poisoning after the holidays. So people go out dinner and they always get a food poisoning. But if you don't treat them right away, then they will disappear in your panel. So they go to the chronic part and you'll never see them again. So take a look at that also. And my salmonella food poisoning, all kinds of stuff. Yes. When you eat poisoned food. So when you go to a restaurant, it's not always that safe. So I advise to drink ginger tea after you go out to a dinner. Yes, it will kill off immediately, and then you don't have anything else after it. And my thank you very much, but my last message is, love yourself, do this protocol first on yourself, your body will be grateful. I really would like you to first do this whole protocol on yourself. Then you know what you give to your clients, and you will really feel happier when you do this. I don't know yet, because I'm always searching for things, so it's my passion. The food and the digestive tract and what I can find in the whole biofeedback system. When I first bought it, I'm bored easily. When I saw this system, I thought, whoa, I'll go further until I get 80 and I'm not bored. So, yeah. Are there any questions? Yeah?
I have a client. She has a concern of intestinal nerval dyslipsia. So what's that mean?
I believe that it is an inflammation in the it's so inflamed that your nervous system doesn't work and everything feels painful. Yes, and that is inflammation. So first work on the stomach and on the liver. And because then you don't get the rancid from the rotting of the food, and then the pathogens will not be fed again, because those pathogens will create all the neurotoxins again. And then you got this cycle. Are there any further questions?
You work the same way with kids?
Yes, yes. I love to work with kids because when I treat kids the same as I treat adults, but they react much faster. And I really love to work with kids because if I knew this in the beginning, my life would be much easier. Yes, yes. And it's not too much for them because you first of all do all the channels of elimination, so you support them really well. But it's often that they don't need the really heavy detox. The heavy detox, like going to homotoxicology, they just solve their problems by giving them good food advice and do just the channels of elimination. It's most of all, it's already enough for them. And you also have to look at the miasms, because a lot of times they have the same things as their parents, and that's an important thing. And I, not to go deep into the vaccination part, but I advise them, if they want to do the vaccination, wait until they are 1 year, because it's too much for the immune system. Yes. Any further? Oh.
Do you find that digestive disruption goes along with urinary disruption, or urinary tract infections, pain, abdominal pain?
Yes, I believe, as I mentioned before, that all disease begins in the gut. So if you have a lot of pathogens, they will create neurotoxins, and they can also get in your weakest part. If your weakest part is the water element, then that's the first thing you react on. So again, first clean up the liver and make your liver and the stomach strong, so that you have enough bile and enough HCl to kill the pathogens, and you have less urinating problems also. Yes, that's what I believe.
So, holy crap, she made it through 233 slides. A big round of applause for Charlotte, please.